And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the #1 podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 151. I'm Christian Brindle. He's Glenn Shelton, and he's back in the office with.
And I'm ready to go for another 9 hours. I'm not doing an hour. Hours are for losers. We're going for 9 hours. Dude, I literally got off the stream yesterday and it was like electricity in my brain. I was like, oh.
I could not see straight for the rest of the day. I went to bed early. I was just zonked. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we did a 9-hour AE. 9 hours straight.
Your audio's cut out for a second there, sir.
How about now? Testing.
Much better. Much better.
We did a 9-hour straight AEP kickoff webinar yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit. But here we are, front and center on a Tuesday, episode 151. And we've got some big news to talk about in today's show. And it is a doozy of a show we got planned for you guys today. Before we jump in, anything on your mind, right?
I have something that's been burning.
We might have to pour the water on it and put the fire out by letting you talk about it.
I have to share this. This is not, for those of you who get upset about the NBA talk, we're going to try to keep this very, very short, I promise. But this is something I haven't mentioned at all to Christian yet, and I've been dying to know what his thoughts are on this topic. I'm going to do a brief little screen share here. Kawhi Leonard. Superstar in the NBA, as many of you know that name. There has been what is now considered an ongoing investigation. So Steve Ballmer, if you don't know who Steve Ballmer is, and this has just been fascinating to me, I'm sorry, but Steve Ballmer, ex-Microsoft executive who bought the LA Clippers. He's very involved with the team, obviously, as the owner. If you don't, just a really, really quick overview here. If you don't understand how the NBA salary cap works, essentially to try to level the playing field, right? They have a cap on how much you can spend on your payroll for your team players. And if you go above that, you have to pay the luxury tax, which is some crazy amount, right? How am I doing so far?
Doing well. Continue.
Okay. So in order to stay under the luxury tax amount, what is potentially going on is there's a backdoor deal where Kawhi Leonard got like $50 million through a shell company.
I think it was 28.
I thought it was 48 million.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I heard it was 28 and an endorsement from a, and it's very intertwined. There's like a web of sorts. So there's two sides of the story. There's this company called, what's it called? Investigation. Not Investigation. What's it called? I can't even remember what the company was called.
The Tree Company, right? It's a company.
It's a company that was basically shut down for being fraudulent by the feds a couple years later. Steve Ballmer claims that he was scammed by this company.
Right.
But what I read was it was 28 million. But I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. I read it was $28 million endorsement deal, but Kawhi never
did anything,
said anything for the sponsorship for the company. Never made a post on social media. Never did an advertisement. Never did a commercial. And so it's looking very apparent that it was an extra incentive to get him to sign after his championship run in Toronto the previous season.
Right. So before I ask you your thoughts on this, to really simplify this for anybody listening or watching, the owner paid this lump sum to a LLC.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Steve Ballmer, don't sue the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. LLC then pays Kawhi Leonard to be a spokesperson or whatever. Kawhi Leonard does nothing for that money. And now this is where we are. So all of that being said, what are your thoughts on this? And alternate secondary question to this, do you think this is happening all the time and we're just now hearing about it?
100%. Like, if you look at actually how this came to light, it came to light from a reporter named Pablo Torre, who did like this insane investigative research to really uncover this. He went through the bankruptcy documents. It was like thousands of pages of the company that was shut down by the feds to really uncover the details behind this. Unless you're a maniac like that's doing all this crazy research, this would never have come to light. You know what I mean? So you got to think this is happening all the time, constantly. That reminds me, there was a story with the Minnesota Timberwolves, if you've ever heard this story. In the early 2000s, they got stripped 3 years of first-round picks because they got caught doing something similar. There was a player by the name of Joe Smith. Who? Joe Smith. Joe Smith was a former, I believe, first-round pick or first overall pick, but he never lived up to his hype and everything. He had a couple good early seasons. And they were going to pair him with a young Kevin Garnett. Well, they convinced him to sign basically the minimum at the time, like $1 million contract. And then the promise was they'd sign him later at like 30 million or 20 million or something like that a year, like a handshake, a wink deal. And they got caught. The NBA hammered them and took away, like they fined them millions of dollars, took away multiple years of first round picks. And that's the story in terms of why Kevin Garnett never got any help in Minnesota. That's why he got traded to Boston, because they couldn't get any first round picks for years because they did it all over Joe Smith.
Crazy.
Joe Smith. So it's kind of a similar situation to that. That's like the last time you've seen something like this. So I imagine the NBA is going to come down hard on them. It looks bad. It's a bad look.
Yeah, it's a really bad look because, again, you're thinking all of a sudden if the stars are looking or expecting these types of backdoor deals, and now it's outside the protection too, right? Like you don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. You have tax liability. You have the government involved. Like it could get so ugly so fast. So yeah, I bet the Clippers are going to get hammered. Unless, of course, Mr. Ballmer has a way of sneaking out of this. I don't know. Stay tuned. But I just wanted to bring that up because that's been trending, very topical in the NBA world in the offseason right now. And fascinated to see a superstar like that attached to a potential backdoor deal.
That's a crazy situation. It'll be interesting to kind of see how it unfolds. Let's pivot into the sponsor because I want to get right into the main topic. There's a lot to talk about with this. Who is the sponsor of episode 151?
The sponsor of episode 151, if you guys can believe it, we're past 150 episodes already. This episode is brought to you by Lead Heroes, our preset appointment program. If you were on the ESI AEP 2026 virtual kickoff webinar that we did yesterday, you would have been the first to hear about this limited time promotion we have going on for our Medicare preset appointments with scope of appointment. We are handling all of the hurdles for you this AEP. We're going to be getting a compliant opt-in lead, scheduling an appointment with that lead, personalized with your information so you have clear one-to-one consent, setting it 48 hours or further out on your schedule, on your calendar, and capturing a verbal scope of appointment and passing along that recording to you so you can keep that for your records and have maximum efficiency this AEP. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking a lot more about those preset appointments as we continue on. We're actually going to do a webinar next Monday about the Lead Heroes preset appointments and how you can be successful this AEP working with them. If you'd like more information, or if you're ready to place your order, because this is going to be a limited quantity available, we sell out almost every single year by October 1st. So head over to leadheroes.com if you want more information, or if you're ready to grab some preset appointments. LEADHEROES.com.
Yes. Breaking news, pivoting into
this just in. Shuffle some paperwork.
Drops as of yesterday in terms of news. An email goes out from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, which the same company owns both. One thing that most agents really have a hard time understanding is that in America, there are over 35 different Blue Cross Blue Shield companies. They all have nothing to do with each other. They all have different tax IDs. So people are going to hear this news and immediately assume, despite me even explaining this, that like, oh, I'm in Iowa, and I don't even know if there's Blue Cross of Iowa, but my Blue Cross Blue Shield of Iowa's cutting commission, or North Carolina, or Regents or Anthem or anything like that. It's regardless. It's regardless of how much we talk about this, that's going to be the perception. This is me trying to save you all from that, but I won't be able to, because this will still happen.
I've already seen it.
I've
already seen that perception.
There's agents that are seasoned where I'm seeing them comment. They're like, yeah, I had this experience with this Blue Cross. I'm like, that's a different Blue Cross. There's nothing to do with it. But 35 plus different Blue Cross Blue Shield companies. This one in particular oversees, I want to say 4 different states. Texas and Illinois are the 2 main ones. And Texas and Illinois, Blue Cross Blue Shield, put out the press release, the announcement, the email blast, stating that they would no longer be paying any commissions on new business for 2026, so basically AEP, going forward on any Medicare Advantage products. Now, they'll still pay on their PDP plans. From my understanding, they're not good or competitive, expensive PDPs. And they'll still pay commissions on their Med Sup business. Medicare Advantage business, though, is a thing of the past when it comes to that carrier. Now, they will pay renewals on old business written. So there's that, I suppose. They didn't do the well care.
Didn't do the well care. Yikes.
They say, like, do the polka, do the well care.
Oh man, this has been blowing up. So since this news came out, and the main reason we had a different topic scheduled for today, there was actually something else that's really big that I wanted to talk about today that we felt had to wait, because this has been just lightning in a bottle. We're seeing post after post after post in the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group. We're seeing in other groups. Everybody is freaking out about it. And I think part of it is what Christian just mentioned there too, is I think a lot of agents are assuming it's all of the Blue Cross Blue Shield companies are doing this, when the reality is it's just a fraction of the national, from what we know, right? The Illinois and Texas.
This specific announcement, not saying there won't be others like it from now until October 1st, but this specific announcement is affecting those specific Blue Cross Blue Shield companies. This is also the same company, by the way, the holding company that owns Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas and Illinois, also is the company that just bought Cigna / HealthSpring. Again, right. No impact on Cigna or HealthSpring. I don't want to cast any aspersions to lead to that type of conclusion. But when you first heard this announcement, what's the first thing that came to your mind, seeing all of the buzz about it? Buzz / panic, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about we haven't talked about this specific situation, but we talked about this topic in a broader sense quite a bit. If you've been listening or you've been watching the show, we've talked a lot about this. So we already had this theory earlier in the year that what we are most likely going to see going into this AEP is not necessarily a carbon copy of what happened last year, but that there would be a similar thread, that we would see some plans be non-commissionable. So I'm not surprised in that sense, because this is something that we've been anticipating, right? Pretty much from day one of 2025, we've expected some of this to happen. So, I think what's really interesting is what I want to get into with someone's comment today in the group. So, initially when some of these plans went non-commissionable last year, it was that the carrier basically didn't want them written. They want to get rid of them, right? And you've talked about this previously as well, right?
Yep.
That we've already even seen a lot of those plans go away, right? So they went non-commissionable for last AEP, and now here we are coming into AEP 2026, and they're gone because the carriers want to get rid of them. There's too many plans, and that's not necessarily a bad thing for any of us. The comment that I saw that I think is interesting is, if that was the case, why are some of these plans who went non-commissionable last year, which again, I'm not even sure, were some of these exact Blue Cross Blue Shield plans already non-commissionable last year? Because the comment led me to believe that these were the same plans that were non-commissionable last year that will be non-commissionable this year from Blue Cross Blue Shield companies.
I don't know about this specific Blue Cross Blue Shield company. Again, we've been contracted with them less than a year, right? So we went through a lot of work for basically nothing. That was fun. So I'm not quite sure on their specific plan offerings or anything like that. But again, right, like, this is what I would tell any agents that are trying to make any type of like connections to what other carriers are doing, specifically large carriers, right? Like national carriers, blues, in particular, regional blues like this, dance to the beat of their own drums. You cannot take a look at what blues are doing and compare that to what other companies do. For the most part, Blue Cross Blue Shield companies always do things their own way, for better or for worse. That's their brand. They're proud of it. If you talk to a lot of these blues, and representatives of these blues, like, that's almost like a selling point of theirs. Blue Cross Blue Shield, different. We're different. We're different. Yeah. Sometimes that's good. Other times it's bad. And so I've noticed that a lot of these Blue Cross Blue Shield companies, they kind of live in a bubble in a sense. They do not pay very close attention to what their contemporaries in the industry are doing because they don't care. So a lot of times, like, they're very much in the dark of what's industry norm, industry standard, and they kind of do what they want to do. Like, there's Blue Cross Blue Shield companies that we've done a ton of business with as an agency at ESI over the years without naming names. And they do weird things, like, on the positive side, pay lifetime commissions on MedSup. On the negative side, have no vested commissions, meaning that they can change your commissions anytime they want, which most carriers have contracted vested commissions, where as long as the business is active, they're supposed to pay you, right? But like Blue Cross Blue Shield companies, they literally do things their own way. And so, I feel like you really can't take this news and think there's any type of large bearing reflection on what's going on in the industry, because it's a Blue Cross Blue Shield company. Like, they're just,
I think that's accurate.
They march to the beat of their own drum. And I don't think they're doing anything based off of where the industry is at. I think they worry about their own sandbox, and they don't really focus on what's going on outside of their own sandbox, for better or for worse.
So assuming that this plan was non-commissioned, these plans from Blue Cross Blue Shield, Illinois and Texas, assuming these were non-commissionable last AEP, which I don't know if that's true or not, but this is what the comment was, that these are the same plans that are going to be non-commissionable again this AEP. Why would they not just get rid of these plans? Why are they rolling them out again, but they're non-commissionable?
That
was the question. That was the question.
I didn't see the comment, so I can't speak on it, but like, I'd be surprised if last AEP they made every single Medicare Advantage plan non-commissionable, because that's what they just did now. Like there's not a certain list of plans. It's every single plan they offer that's a Medicare Advantage plan.
Yeah.
So to that comment, I would say they didn't make every single plan non-commissionable. That's why there were people still selling their plans this year.
Yeah.
So that comment doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that because I don't understand the question necessarily.
Yeah, it probably is a misunderstanding, is my guess. I mean, again, that's how a lot of these reactions are. I mean, if you were to see, like, if you didn't know anything about our industry and you just came in blind right now and you're trying to get a temperature read based on what you're hearing and seeing, especially online, you would assume
the sky is falling.
I mean, you would assume that like one payer passed and we're about to, completely lose our entire industry overnight. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. That's the perception right now.
I don't want to speak out of turn, right? Because again, we haven't been with this carrier very long at ESI. It's a carrier that we have. We did go through the certs. One thing I do want to mention before I get into this next part is, like, I heard they're still doing AEP plan rollouts. They have them like scheduled. Why? For agents? Why are you doing these meetings? You big goofballs. There's no commissions. No one's going to show up. It's going to be you talking to yourself. And maybe that one agent that's going to be like, I will do what's best for my client and then put them on the plan. I will do it.
That's
and
crazy.
I need to be educated on this plan. So they're still doing rollouts. And then, of course, right, why not put this in? And maybe it's one of those things that was a last minute decision. Sometimes carriers do make decisions in the 11th hour of things.
Right. We've seen that. Yeah.
But why make all of us go through certifications? Why make all of us go through certifications and then put this information out, right? Like I've talked about before, ESI has 40 Medicare Advantage carriers, 40 Medicare Advantage certifications. This was one of them that we had to do. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a salty bitch of sorts.
If you're the carrier and you're thinking this is going to happen, even if you haven't 100% decided yet, are you going to try to do it more towards the last minute because you're hoping at least a small portion of agents or agencies will still sell your product, even though they're not going to pay commissions on it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the thought
because that's what they're like. Oh, maybe we'll get 5% of brokers to still write us 5% of our normal volume. I mean, I don't know.
This is my thoughts, right? Without knowing the details, it's just kind of more speculation, which I've been accused of doing. But my speculation is they don't want the business overall. I think there are carriers out there that, on a grand scheme of things, are hurting, adjusting to the new landscape and the new world of how Medicare Advantage benefits have to work from an actuarial perspective. And so I do feel like there are certain carriers, especially regional ones, that they just don't want to be in the Medicare Advantage business anymore. Look at this situation with UCare. UCare, for those of you that don't know, regional Minnesota and Wisconsin carrier that just termed all Medicare Advantage members under their plan. I talked about it last Friday on the show. Like, that's a carrier that clearly doesn't want to be in the Medicare Advantage business. Another approach that a carrier can make if they don't want to be in the Medicare Advantage business, because clearly they want to work with agents, they'll still pay them on med sups, they'll still pay them on PDPs. So they want agents to write those products, but maybe they want to not completely get out of the Medicare Advantage business, but they want to slow the enrollments exponentially, and they feel like this is the best way to do it. This episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by my mini course, How to Find and Buy Books of Businesses. Guys, in 2024, Glenn and I, in our combined company, purchased and acquired through acquisition 900 clients. And over the years, we've purchased thousands of clients to grow our agency internally. And we've learned a thing or two over the years, right? There's certain things you need to look out for. You need to know how to value a book of business. You need to know how to transfer everything, what the expectations are in terms of the timeline. And you need to know how to put a deal together and structure it to protect yourself while still at the same time doing good business with people. Guys, this mini course is around 10 videos long. It's a quick and easy thing to get through. And it's a great way for you to grow your book of business in 2025. Whether you're finding an agent that is maybe been in the business for decades and they want to retire, and then maybe they don't have any kids to take over their business. Maybe you're looking at a situation with an agent that just hasn't been able to make it in the business and they're just looking to go off and try other things. Buying books of businesses can be a great way to quickly and rapidly grow your business fast. And we've unveiled all of the little tools and tricks that you need to know in this training. It's a one-time purchase for only $197. For that price, we're practically giving it away. Make sure to check it out now. Now back to the show.
So, you mentioned earlier, you said, we could potentially see more of this. Obviously, I know you don't actually have a crystal ball, but if you had to guess between now and October 1st, or maybe now and November 1st, since again, last AEP, we saw some changes happen mid-October, right? If you had to guess over the next 60 days, do you think we see more of this from other carriers? And if so, how much more? Is it going to be another kind of here or there thing? Maybe, more of a regional thing? Is it possible we'll see some bigger non-commissionable plans get rolled out?
It's definitely possible. Only time will tell. I really don't know because I don't have a crystal ball. I would be surprised though if we saw anything too dramatic from any of the major carriers at this point. I say that with a bit of doubt in my voice and my tone, because last AEP we saw all the massive carriers make massive changes in the middle of AEP. But I do feel like that was a little bit unprecedented, right? Like it was January 1st, 2025 was the first time they had to work with this new Inflation Reduction Act prescription drug model. And so I think they were getting way more enrollments than they thought they would on certain plans. I think they've had a lot more time to process data. So I feel like, a lot of carriers put out non-commissionable plans and suppressed plans throughout the middle of the year this year, right? So I feel like a lot of that was maybe done already. I do think you're going to see more from regional carriers, though. I think that's the most likely next shoe to drop is more of the regional carriers, more of the UCares of the world, more regional blues, things like that. That makes a lot of sense to me because I think those regional carriers already have a hard time competing, and they're the ones that are probably the most likely to go. When Walmart comes into your town, what's the first store to close?
Yeah, this is the mom and pa's, the little guys.
Mom and pa.
Mom and pa, the little guys.
And your regional carriers are your mom and pa's.
Walmart comes to town, and that's your new table you're getting to set up right there in Walmart for AEP. You've got to close up your agency, and Walmart owns half your book now. It happens, guys.
This is a thing, okay?
You guys are worried about Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a comment here that says, not accurate for all Texas areas. So
There's a
does that
comment
mean,
following that says for last year, meaning last
oh,
year.
for last, okay.
So
So maybe there was some plans that were non-commissionable last year that are being rolled out again, but it wasn't nearly what we're seeing this year from Blue Cross
right.
Blue Shield of
That
Illinois.
that was kind of related to that original comment that was like, why did they, whatever they said, right? Why do they put out non-commissionable plans if they're just going to make them? I didn't understand what they were saying, because like they might have put out some non-commissionable plans last year, but this year it's
All
all
of them.
Medicare Advantage
Right.
plans. So
Right.
like I just think that's where the disconnect might have been. But yeah, definitely last year it wasn't all plans. That's why agents were still contracting. That's why agents were still getting
Yeah.
certified and everything like that.
So, you know, and again, we just did this massive kickoff webinar with several major carriers yesterday. And I guess the thing that stands out to me the most when this type of situation arises, and I believe we will see some more of this over the next 60 days. I can't even really begin to speculate. It could be a tiny bit more, or we could, it could be a lot more. I really don't know. I really don't know. It'd be purely speculative for me to say anything. I'm hoping it's only a little bit more. I'm hoping we
Yeah.
only see a little bit more, just for the sake of all of us, right here in the industry.
I want to spend it a little bit of time talking about, like, because people are going to be looking to this episode for guidance, right? What does this
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Should you
right.
be afraid? What should you be kind of thinking going
Right.
forward? Um, for me, this is what I'm thinking. This doesn't change anything to me. I don't take a pulse on the industry based on what a regional Blue Cross Blue Shield company is going to do. For years, a lot of regional Blue Cross Blue Shield companies would not even work with agents. They were captive only, right? Or maybe they'd only go through one FMO that's local in the area or something like that, right? Like you just couldn't sell their products a lot of times. There was a lot of that went on for many, many years.
Yeah.
It's only in the last couple of years that a lot of these regional Blue Cross Blue Shield companies started contracting and working with agents. So like I'm not going to change my opinion on where the industry is at based on the actions of a regional Blue Cross Blue Shield company. I'm just not. I think that one thing I talked about on last Friday's show, and if you guys didn't watch it, episode 150, go back and watch it because it talks about a lot of this stuff in extreme detail. The history of where things have been versus where they are now and how we got here. But to kind of summarize, my feelings are we are going through a shift right now in our industry. You got to remember the old prescription drug model and what could be offered in Medicare Advantage plans, and while still being able to commit and paying claims the way the system was written out, was 20 years old. Medicare Part D started AEP of 2005, for 1/1 effective dates. So you're literally talking about a situation where carriers had 20 years of data to determine what they could offer in their plans and what they can't. They have 9 months of data right now.
Right.
And
From the
so we're going to
changes.
have multiple years of shifting, disruption, for carriers to try to figure out what they can do and what they can't do. And
Until we get some type of baseline back.
yes, about what's going to be. And
Yeah.
that's the expectation that agents need to have. It's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride. It's going to be that ride where you go up, you're like, when you get to the top and you go, oh! Like that's what it's going to be the next couple of years, guys. So don't be shocked when you see these types of things coming out. It doesn't mean the end is nigh. What it means is the market is resetting.
Yeah. I mean, there's always contractions in any major industry, and regulations can obviously come in and shift that, and the economics behind it. There's always all these moving variables, and a lot you can't even see. Like what's going on behind the scenes with these carriers, we don't know. Half the time we have no idea what's going on, until maybe we get some type of, unless it's a publicly traded company and we can actually see into their financials. What I was getting to earlier, though, is, this concept that all the carriers are getting rid of commissions for agents is just simply not true. It's just simply not true. And if you're selling in multi-state, part of what I've been thinking about as we've been talking about this is, what agent is really set up most for success? The scariest thing would be if you're focused on like your immediate local market and you don't have a lot of options, and then all of a sudden you get, some of those major options in your immediate local market go non-commissionable, and now you're trying to figure out what to do. Do I have to sell more med sup, et cetera, yada, yada. The agents who are selling multi-state and you're in a bigger geographic area, I mean, obviously at ESI, we're licensed in over 40 states, so we have a really big footprint. There's so many different carriers and markets that you can sell in when you're selling over the phone, which again, this is a new phenomenon, you guys. Pre-2020, the ability for an agent to sell over the phone, unless you were sitting in a call center, was very difficult. We are in unprecedented times where you can be a licensed Medicare agent. You can work from home or you can work from your office, and you can sell over the phone in several different states. So part of me is like, man, even if you were to get hammered in your local area, just open it up, you guys. Sell in a different market with carriers who are paying. I just think that the negativity is so focused on what is ultimately a very small thing, right? I mean, what would you guess the volume of Medicare Advantage applications for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Texas is, right? Like what are we talking about? Like literally though, literally, give me a percentage. Like 1%? Like we're talking about 1%, 0.5%?
I don't think they're big players or market leaders in either area, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. And I think you're in a market right now where most of the time, the plans that are going non-commissionable end up terming eventually. That's what we're seeing. Most of the plans that termed, we're going to see 1.5 to 2 million plans terminate for this AEP for next year. Most of those were non-commissionable / suppressed plans, right? A lot of those were non-commissionable / suppressed plans. And so, that's kind of what we're going to see. The carriers are not, I think where there would be a concern is if the carrier made a plan non-commissionable that they really were pushing, and behind the scenes they were really wanting it sold, so they were trying to basically compete against you. What you guys have to understand is these carriers, when they make a plan non-commissionable, they're not trying to push it themselves. They're trying to hide it from people, make it hard to get to, make it not available as much as possible without just full on terminating it. And so that to me tells me something. It's not a thing of carriers wanting agents out of the way. It's a thing where they're trying to slow the bleeding. Think about some of these plans as a knife that's gone right into the carrier's chest. And every time there's a new enrollment, it's twisting and there's more blood. Little morbid analogy there, but they're trying to stop the bleeding. Literally.
It's a great point, though. It is. There's economic reasoning behind it. It's just like when we saw some carriers last AEP and they were like, yeah, you can keep writing this, but you got to write it on paper. No more e-apps for you, Mr. Little Billy. They're just trying to slow the bleeding down because they're trying to make it to next year. They're trying to make it to the year after that. So, But I mean, honestly, this Blue Cross Blue Shield, which again, it's right now lightning in a bottle in the industry. Like you're talking about probably less than 0.25% of what is the annual applications nationwide. I mean, it's probably nothing. Like I don't know the exact percentage, but if you had a gun to my head right now and I had to guess and get close to stay alive, I'm gonna guess it's probably around 0.25% or less of annual applications, and yet everyone is literally. And what kills me is the follow up of like, well, it's time to look for something else.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of that too.
Yeah, it's always it's the second line. It's the second line there. Yeah.
Time to pivot.
Yeah, time to pivot. I'm thinking about that PNC license.
That's a great stable market to get into. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, guys.
No, I think it's just very short-sighted, and I think it scares a lot of agents, and I think you really see the chicken littles come out, as you like to say, when these types of things happen. And, I guess my message to all of you guys would be understand why this is happening. It's not some larger scheme, in my opinion, of, twirly mustached individuals in a dark room. Wait till we take away their regional Blue Cross commissions. I don't think it's that. I think understand its economic reasons, and we will be okay. You will be okay. And the market will stabilize, but it's going to take a couple of years. It is. It's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster for the next couple of years.
I mean, and part of it too, though, is like, I guess maybe this is like the optimist in me, but I see it as less competition, right? Because it's not like someone's going to be out here repping this plan, right? Good luck. Good luck there. The capitalism, the way this whole thing is structured, you guys, is that plan's naturally not going to be written. That's how this works. Even though it's still here and it's still around, which again, that was part of the big thing here is like, well, why is the plan even here if it's non-commissionable? Well, lots of reasons behind that.
It hurts the carrier star ratings the more they terminate a plan. Point blank. Right? So like the carrier doesn't want the business, but they understand it hurts them more by terminating the plan in the short term. Right? So like they're playing chess, not checkers. A lot of you are thinking very checker-like and not like a chess master, right? Like they're thinking about this from a cause and effect perspective. If we terminate the plan, it hurts our star rating. If it hurts our star rating, it hurts our funding. If it hurts our funding, that hurts us more than anything else. So that's not what they want to do on the interim. The interim is they put the plan on the back burner and ignore it like an ugly stepchild.
Yes.
And they'll deal with it later. That's what a lot of carriers did the last year with these suppressed plans and these non-commissionable plans. They don't want the business. They're focusing on other products. That's the message they're giving agents by this move.
Right.
So give them what they're asking for. Don't give them the business.
Yeah. Right. Something different. I mean, I think you need to understand as an agent or as an agency owner, like this is going to be the future, at least for the next, however long, maybe another year, maybe a couple years. But I think the mindset I would have is expect some of this, realize that you need to kind of, again, play the chess game of these are the plans, these are the carriers that work best for me, that I can work with, and expect some healthy churn in your book where you're going to have to be moving a percentage of your book of business every year. Maybe it's, we're talking about the national churn of 2 to 3 million, right? Whatever the potential number is of seniors with terminated plans. So if the national is about 10%, I would expect your own book to be 10%. Obviously, again, that will vary based on your market. If you're leaning heavy on a regional carrier and they're completely gone, and now you've got 1,000 clients you have to move, obviously that's a completely different ball game. But I think part of this is just having the right expectations, you guys. Some of you are coming in with rose-colored glasses of like, not a single plan should ever go non-commissionable. These carriers owe me. I'm licensed. I did the certs with them. I sold them for years. How dare this carrier do this? Right? Like, is there
the certs with them?
Right? Like, isn't there some like I feel like there's a little bit of entitlement almost that some of these agents have, where it's like, I can't believe this. How dare they? Like, they have to make money too, guys, right? Like, it's got to work for them and it's got to work for us. Like, it's got to work for everybody.
I think this is a good time to move into final thoughts. I know we're getting close to, we're probably there, at the
we are
top of the time of today's episode.
Top of the time. Does it kill you to not be able to say top of the hour? Does that hurt inside?
I have to stop myself. Yeah.
We're at top of the
top of the time.
That's it. We're on top of time right now.
Guys, my final.
I told you how I was saying that the other day. My wife was like, "What? Yeah, what are you saying?" I'm like, "Top of the hour." Like, what does top of the hour mean?
What does that mean?
At the top of this hour, it's 2:15. Top of the hour, 3:00. I'm like, and I'm like Christian says it all the time. Okay, so now it's in my lexicon. It's in my vocabulary. And now it's top of time. top of time. Oh man! All right, final thoughts, Mr. Brindle.
Final thoughts at top of time are, like I said, guys. I think the more you can comprehend why this is happening, the more it'll make sense to you, and the more you'll understand that this is not the boogeyman coming to get you. You will be fine. You will be okay. Adjust. Like I said earlier, the vast majority of regional Blue Cross Blue Shield plans did not work with agents for years. I'm not saying this one in particular, but a lot of them. A lot of them that work with agents today didn't work with agents 5 years ago, right? So understand the reasoning behind all of this and understand that everything's going to be okay. Understand that there will be shifts and disruption and things like this more to come over the next couple of years until the market resets. The analogy I used on last episode on Friday, episode 150, was you've got to think about when ACA passed. Carriers were going from asking health questions to all of a sudden not being allowed to ask health questions on regular health insurance. And there was a little bit of disruption and shift for many years before it stabilized into what it was going to be in the ACA. There was a lot of carriers that pulled out, that didn't want to be in that business, that have since come back to it. Things just need to stabilize a little bit. And I feel like our business has a very bright future. I do not think it's doom and gloom or necessary to be doom and gloom about this. But that being said, a lot of people are going to still be doom and gloom. Someone told me the other day, someone commented on one of our videos that said we were doom and gloom. You and I, we were the doom and gloom people. And I'm like, what?
That's what happens when you start covering current events. We're covering the doom and gloom. We have to, because you guys are obsessed with it. You're obsessed with it. So we have to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Someone sees like a 5-minute clip of us talking about something, don't see the whole episode, the whole perspective of something, and they're like, doom and gloom. Anyway, that's my final thoughts. Mr. Glenn Shelton.
Am I gloom and you're doom?
Get some t-shirts. Gloom and doom.
Yeah. I love that. It's like friendship bracelets. So final thoughts on today. There's no rule or law that says you have to write a plan that's non-commissionable. If a carrier chooses to stop paying commission on a plan that you are contracted with, you do not have to write that plan, period. As an agent, you are, and especially as a broker, right? You're allowed, and in my opinion, encouraged as a broker. That's the point of being a broker, is you get to choose who you work with from a carrier level. So anytime something like this happens, play the chess game of, okay, who are the carriers that are paying me commissions that I can work with in my area? Or if you're, nationwide, obviously there's a huge advantage there. So maybe part of this could be, if you're affected by this because it's your local area, maybe the play here for you is to really open up the area that you're selling this AEP. Maybe you try selling more over the phone. Maybe you're getting licensed in a couple other states that you're not normally selling in, because you're trying to take advantage of that demographic by expanding your reach a little bit. Think bigger, think a little different. This is not the end of the world. Okay. That's, again, when the meteor's coming, we'll tell you, okay? when the meteor's on the horizon, we'll be like, there it is. Yeah. We'll be here and we'll be live, okay? We'll have the front row seat, and we'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya together as that meteor gets closer. But it's not here yet.
Yep.
Those are my final thoughts.
Well said. As it will be like in The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane says, "Hold your families close." We come here as liberators, not as conquerors, to give power back to the people.
One of us needs to be in the wreckage, brother.
The fire will rise? Yes, the fire rises. Oh, sorry. Yes.
This is
incredible the devil, and he will appear.
Incredible movie. If you guys haven't seen,
love that movie. Okay, sorry guys, we've gone way over on today's episode.
Yeah.
If you watched all the way to the end, whether it be live, whether it be on a replay, regardless of the platform or the medium that you choose to consume today's show on, we appreciate your support. Make sure to give us a like, comment, and subscribe for future episodes. And give a 5-star review if you're listening on a podcast platform. We'll be back next time in another episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast. Here's to your massive success. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.